Good afternoon to all. Let's start for the today's session. As we are studying unit number 1, that is the parallel processing concept. In that unit, we have completed most of the topic of unit number 1. In today's session, we will see the two topics. That is one, scalable design principle in parallel computing, and second one is the single core or multi-core processor. That's the N-wide architecture. N-wide architecture, in that there are again 2 points: single core and multi-core processor. As we have completed introduction, motivation, scope, limitations, dichotomy, physical organization, communication cost in parallel machine. Okay. Now in today's session, we will see the scalable design principle and architecture, N-wide superscalar architecture, and last one, that is the multi-core architecture. In last session, we have studied interconnection network. Now, in today's session, we will see the scalability in parallel computing. Scalability in parallel computing. So, you may know about what is the scalability. Normally, we know the scalability means we can scale our network. If suppose there is the if suppose in computer network, if you want to define the scalability, then we can say if number of computers are added or increased in the existing network, then we can say the scalability. Or suppose if there is the internet speed, if we are getting the 1 Mbps speed for internet, and if we want more internet speed, then we will try to increase our internet plan instead of 1 Mbps to the 2 Mbps or 5 Mbps, whatever. So we can say that is the scalability. I will give one more example. In our personal computer or laptop, we can add more number of RAM or hard disks. So it is also one of the example of scalability. But scalability, it is not just only performance, high availability and business continuity planning. Means we just add number of computers in number of system in the existing network. It is not sufficient. It is not actual scalability. Scalability means if you have added or you have increased the computer system in your existing network, or you have increased RAM, then you should also maintain the traffic or data set for that particular network. So you can read the definition. It is not only performance, high availability, business continuity planning, but it is traffic, user growth, and database size growth. It means now you can understand the definition. Just to give the performance or to increase the resources availability in the existing network, it is not sufficient to define the scalability. When if suppose in one ISP is responsible to provide the 100 connection for particular institute. Okay, it means that is scalability. But if suppose you are trying to improve the high availability in your existing network, means you are you are trying to access the internet for more than 100 PC in the existing network. So it is not only scalability. You have to also maintain the traffic for that particular network. If you have added more than 100 users for that particular network, then you should you have to also maintain the traffic. You have to also check the data set or database size growth. If more number of users are added to the particular network, then automatically uh, there can be there can be bandwidth problem can be increased for the particular network. So keep one thing in your mind: scalability. It is not only to give the performance or availability or continuity in planning. In scalability, you have to also maintain the traffic. You have to check the resources. You have to check the bandwidth and other resources which are properly working or not. Then only we can say it is a scalable network in our parallel computing. normally we Normally we study scalability means just increase the system performance by adding the number of hardware devices or software devices. But in parallel computing, you not just to improve the performance or provide the devices, you have to maintain the devices. You have to check efficiency of your system, whether it is working properly or not. So that is the scalability. Now you can note down the definition. Scalability. At the end of the session, I will ask question on the today's session. So you can note down the definition. Scalability. Scalability is the major number of users it can effectively support at the same time without degrading the defined performance. Scalability is measure of number of users it can effectively support at the same time without degrading the defined performance. Now we are studying the parallel computing. So in that parallel computing, scalability means, yeah, definitely increase the number of users with system, but all the operation is executed all the operation should be executed simultaneously. Then only we can say it is a scalability in the parallel computer. So you can note down the definition for scalability. You can create your own definition for the scalability. But if you are not able to create your own definition, you can note down this definition. Scalability is major number of users it can effectively support at the same time without degrading the defined performance. That's the main design principle in the scalability. Or suppose in the existing network uh, we are adding the number of system, but we are not but we don't check the speed or bandwidth or system performance. Then it is not efficient scalability. Scalability means you should add the number of users. Number of users should be supported by the particular system, but without degrading the performance of that system. Then only we can say it is a efficient scalability for the particular parallel computing. So here you can see the example has a limit example with two load balance capacity. It should support 1000 concurrent users with average response time of 3 seconds. So that we can say in stability that number of users can access the system or resources with this speed. Note down the one more point: performance and scalability. Performance is what an individual user experiences, and scalability is show how many users get to experience it together. You can note down the point: performance and scalability. याच्यामध्ये फरक आहे. There's the difference in the performance and scalability. Performance performance it is played by the individual user. Means one system experience or system use is speed is we can say the performance. Scalability, how many number of users get the experience in that. one system, more than one system can access the data or can perform the operation or can more many users can compute the same application. And when it will perform the when many users or many systems will execute the same application with the parallel computing, and in this case if it gives the efficient performance, then we can say the stability. So you can note down the point. Performance means individual user and scalability means many number of more than or more than one user. You can note down the point from this slide. Definition of scalability and difference between the performance and scalability. Am I audible? Avach yeto?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I continue with the next slide. Now, handling the scalability or degraded application. Now, in this is a general example, but after explain the general example, I will give you technical example. Now here you can see there is a huge traffic on the road. Here you can see number of vehicle and road is also large, but you can see there is the traffic. Means we can say in this you can see there is the scalability. More number of vehicle, more number of vehicle are there on the road. So this is we can say this is scalable, but there is no any traffic control. There is no any monitoring or maintaining. So as per the example, I would like to say that this is not efficient scalability because just data is flooded on the network. Here you can see more number of cars vehicle are mentioned here, but there is no any signal. Okay, there is no any monitoring, and so due to that, we can say this is not a proper or efficient scalability. So to handle the scalability, we need to handle the scalability. We can say to control the traffic, as we know in the for the general example, to control the traffic, there should be a traffic signal. There should be a person who is responsible to control the traffic. आपण रस्त्यावर बघतो जसं की ट्रॅफिक कंट्रोल करण्यासाठी काय असतं तिकडे we see the traffic signal or city police. So he or she will be responsible to control the traffic. So in this example, you can see if data is flooded or data is number of user is added, but monitoring is not there, then we say it is not a efficient scalability. So here, if you are doing like that in your technical system, is supposing high performance computing in computer system, if suppose there in our college internet connection speed 10 Mbps speed is provided by the internet service provider, but suppose the 10 Mbps speed is enough for sufficient for the 100 users only, and if suppose college are trying to give the internet access to the engineering institute with MBA institute with science college, then network is scalable, but the performance of speed will be degraded. Why? Because there is no any monitoring. If suppose college want to give the service to the different institute in the campus, then there should be one device. There should be one device, that is a router, and router can route the data. Means out of 10 Mbps speed, 5 Mbps can be assigned to the engineering institute, 2 Mbps can be assigned to the MBA institute. The rest of the 3 Mbps can be assigned to the English medium school or senior college. So then so that degradation will not be happen in that particular network. So this is a one of the technique to handle the scalability in the technical example. But in this non-technical example, you can see there should be a any system, or we can say the traffic signal or person who will be responsible to control the particular traffic. We have already studied performance and scalability. Now, in the next diagram, I will show you how to handle the scalability. There is the one concept in our computer science engineering, throttling. Throttling is a technical word for the computer science. It means throttling the request to temporarily stop accepting new responses, new requests, and serve better to the existing or important users. Now, in that you can see there are again large number of vehicles on the road, but there's the you can see there's the traffic signal. Due to the traffic signal, they have to wait. So some other other people or other system can use the resources. So this is the concept throttling which is used to handling the scalability. You should note down the point. Throttling. Throttling the meaning. What is the definition of throttling? The request to temporarily stop accepting the new request and serve better to existing or important user. Throttling is the throttling is the concept which stop to receive the new request from the user, and it gives service to the existing system to give the better performance. Because if suppose just I told you 10 mbps 10 mbps speed internet speed, but when we will give uh, when engineering institute our engineering institute want to conduct the online exam, okay, at that time we will at that time what we do, we try to do the throttling concept, means 10 mbps line, and we have already assigned 2 mbps 3 mbps line to the MBA and engineering institute. But when we want to conduct the online examination, at that time we perform the throttling operation. We utilize all 10 mbps internet line for the engineering institute. Why? To give the better performance. Okay, so this is the techniques to handle the scalability. Handling scalability. Now here you can see in the previous diagram you have checked only one way road, so that's why there can be traffic. But to handle the traffic, we have to perform the partition in the road. Okay, then we can show the direction or diversion. Due to that, the traffic can be handled. So these are the one of the techniques to handle the scalability. We can add the number of resources. So here you can see resources are added, road divided into two parts. Okay, so here in both indication are given. Then you can see there is the here you can see there is the tunnel. So people can use this tunnel to go from this side to that side. So these are the resources which are used to handle the scalability. There are two type of scaling: vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Now, in general example, vertical scaling. In vertical scaling, you can see widening road, widening the road. So you can see this is a large road. Okay, as that is scaling up. It is also called as a vertical scaling, is called as a scaling up. Scaling out, horizontal scaling. In horizontal scaling, it routing the traffic, means partitioning which perform in the horizontal scaling. This is a general example. Now I will tell you technical example for the vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Now here you can see horizontal scaling means that you scale by adding more number of machines into your pool of resources. Horizontal scaling, you can note down the point. Horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Horizontal scaling means you scale by adding more number of machine in your existing system. So whatever the system we are using, in that you can add the more number of machine. Okay, that is the horizontal scaling. And we are studying the parallel computing. So in parallel computing, if suppose we add the number of system in the existing number of system in the parallel computing, at that time all the computer will try to execute the operation parallelly. So that's why to perform the horizontal operation, we need to scale by adding the more number of machine. Okay, now vertical scaling. Okay, vertical scaling means what? In parallelly all the computers are set. Okay, so vertically you can scale vertically for the particular system. You can increase the RAM, memory or CPU. Here you can see vertical scaling means that you scale by adding more power. You can increase the processor or RAM size. Okay, note down the point. Horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Horizontal scaling मध्ये काय होतं? In that you can add the number of more machine in your existing system. Okay, and vertical scaling you can apply the vertical scaling for the specific computer or individual PC. You can increase either microprocessor or their RAM. I will show you horizontal scaling and vertical scaling by diagram. Now audible? आवाज येतोय? आवाज
Yes,
येतोय?
sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now here you can see vertical and horizontal scaling. Now you can see this black and white portion. You can see here all the computers are parallelly arranged. So that's why we can say horizontal scaling. In horizontal scaling, you can add the more number of PC. But when you want to perform the vertical scaling like this, so in that this is vertical scaling. So this is your parallel computer, single computer. In that single computer, you can either add the microprocessor or CPU. Okay, note down the point. It's very important concept for the high performance computing or scaling operation. In horizontal scaling, it adds the number of PC. It adds the number of PC because it performs the parallel computing. And in vertical scaling, it can add more. It can add power. Power means you have to increase the power. We have to add the latest microprocessor uh, and efficient RAM, that like 8 GB RAM, 4 GB RAM. Okay, लक्षात आलं असेल तुमच्या व्हर्टिकल मध्ये काय करतात. व्हर्टिकल स्केलिंग मध्ये सीपीयू आणि रॅम ऍड करू शकतो आपण. मी हार्डवेअर रिसोर्सेस वी कॅन ऍड आणि horizontal scaling we can add the number of users. So this is the example for scalability typical web application resources. In that you can see in this diagram web server, application server and database server. There's the large network and problem is splitted. Problem is divided. Web server, application server and database server. So that network, that system can be monitored or managed by the web server, application server and database server. So when we add any many number of computer system in existing network, then it will be informed to the application server. Application server will update the data in the database server. So these sections are responsible to monitoring the system. So that's why scalability can be improved. Okay, next topic. Scalability, scalable design principle. Scalable design principle. Now You got concept of the scalability. Okay, so the, these are the principles, these are the scalable design principle. Avoid the single point of failure. Avoid the single point of failure. For example, in our, if suppose, I want to conduct the, I want to conduct online examination in our campus. Okay, so I have installed one server. I have installed one server as a primary server. Okay. I have also installed one server as a backup server. Okay. To conduct the online examination, I have installed two servers, one as a primary server, second one as a backup server. Why? If suppose there is any damage or uh, any problem occurred during the online examination to the my primary server, then automatically all the data online on all the online examination data will be replicated to the backup server, and immediately after immediately I can conduct the same examination through the backup server. So this is the one of the example for scalable design principle. Avoid the single point of failure. Means you should scale your network, but you should ensure that there should be alternative way to handle or monitor your existing system. If suppose there is a single point, if suppose there is a single system which is controlling to the all the system, so in that case, if your main server or main system is corrupted or means or problem is occurred in your main system, then your whole the network will be collapsed. So that's why this is the one first principle: avoid the single point of failure. Every time in high performance computing, try to make a replica of your server. Second one, scale horizontally, not vertically. Now you can understand what is the horizontally and vertically. Just we have seen in horizontally we can add the number of users, we can add the number of machines, and in vertically we can add the RAM and CPU memory. But in the parallel computer, we know all the main data is maintained by the master PC or server PC. So no need to perform the vertical scaling. In parallel computing, you have to scale the horizontally. Means you have to increase the number of computer system. But for that there can be a condition. If there can be a condition to perform the parallel computing, your client or your system should support the parallel computing. Means your processor should be dual core or multi core processor. Then only that particular system can perform the that particular system can perform the parallel computing. Push work as far away from core as possible. In that, after increasing the number of computers, you can push your work to the particular computer system. And suppose in that if multiple processors are working for the same application, but out of that, if suppose there are 10 computers in the parallel computing system, and if, out of that, if suppose one of the core is free at that time processor will try to assign the task to task to that particular processor to increase the performance of your system. Next, API first. API, application programming interface. Application programming interface. Note down the long form. API, application programming interface first. Okay, so in this scalable network, you have scale your network, you have created replica of server, you have added number of system, you have pushed your work to the multi-core system. Now API first. API first means to to use any service from the internet, you should have API. No need to install any application. Or if you have installed the application with the help of API, then directly you can interact with the system. Right now, I will give you example of the API. For example, we are uh, we are doing the teaching learning method with the help of the Google Meet app. Okay, so Google Meet app, that is one of the API. Google Meet app, with the help of the API, I can directly interact with a student, okay, with the help of the API. Okay, now I will give you one more example. In that I can note down the attendance automatically in Google Meet app. How? With the help of the API, there's the Google Meet attendance API available on the internet. I have just added API in my computer system with my browser, and without taking the manual attendance, I can directly record your attendance with the help of the API. So same with the parallel computing. To perform the parallel operation, there can be no need to install the number of software in that system. With the help of the API, software can be placed in the main server system or cloud system, and with the help of the API, you can directly use the services of that particular system. Next one, cache everything and always. Cache everything. You may know the cache concept. Cache concept means when when we try open any application in computer system, at first time we open that application, at that time it takes more time to execute that particular operation. So same in the parallel computing, there can be multiple computers. First time they try to open that particular application or API. Once it is open, it will be stored in the cache system, and due to that cache, next time no need to it might not take a more time to execute or access that particular file or particular process. Why? Because it is already cached in the system. So due to that, it will improve the performance of the system. And we have already studied cache system in the uh, last in in earlier session. And cache is the temporary memory which used to speed up the processing of the processor. Next, provide as fresh as needed data. Provide as fresh as needed data. In that, suppose I will give you general example. In our smartphone system, in our smartphone system, we we use the we use the WhatsApp app, for example. We use the WhatsApp app, but we always try to get update from the Play Store. If we will get any update, we immediately try to update the data. Means we try to get fresh data on our computer system to use to use new facility or better facility for our mobile. So same in parallel computing, it provides as fresh as needed data. Means if suppose there is any update in the API, so on the internal system, it is automatically updated while performing a parallel computing. So due to the fresh data, it can perform the better execution, and it can give the better performance for the parallel system. And right now, you know in computer system, when we connect internet to our computer system, computer or our mobile, then if there is any new data or new update, then automatically our smartphone or computer system will update the particular software as a fresh data. 7. Design for maintenance and automation. Design for maintenance and automation. Okay, just I told you, in scalability, we add the number of users, we perform the vertical scalability and horizontal scalability. In vertical scalability, we add the resources, CPU, RAM, or any network devices. In horizontal scaling, we add the number of computer systems, but it is not sufficient to add the number of resources and number of computer system. We have to we have to maintain that computer system. We have to perform the automation for that computing system. So maintenance means in that, suppose there are some PC is failed. So in that case, some main server is failed. At that time, automatically system should be switched to the replicated or proxy server. That is the maintenance. Or if suppose any in parallel computing any node is failed, then it should be informed to the main system, and system should monitor the failure node, and it will be corrected, or it will be recovered. So that is the maintenance. In automation, just I told you API, and then API or fresh data. If suppose there is any update available for the particular hardware or software, then it should be automatically updated in the computer system. So that will be helpful for the parallel computing. Asynchronous rather than synchronous. Asynchronous rather than synchronous. Now you may be familiar with the synchronous and asynchronous. In computer network, synchronous means, I give you example for client and server. Am I audible? आवाज येतोय?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Synchronous means, I give you example for client and server. Once client send a request to the server, then client send a request to the server or send the data to the server will receive the data, then it will interpret the data with the server database, and then it will send the response to the client. That is a synchronous. Un- until until get the data to the client, it won't send the next request or next data to the server. That is a synchronous operation. In asynchronous, client does not wait for the response or feedback from the server. It in asynchronous system, that particular system can continuously send the request or send the data to the server. Means there is no any guarantee of data. So in the scalable network, it performs the asynchronous rather than the synchronous. Means no need to wait for the response. It will continuously perform its next operation in the parallel computing. Okay, I give you example. We send mail to the other system. Sometimes suppose I send mail to your official official Gmail group. Okay, so when I send the mail, it show me message sending, or it show me message sent. So in that, I consider, if I have got message sent, it means I consider message is already sent to the student. But actually it is not happen. It show sent message, but after some times, as per the network congestion, it send a message to the group, or message reach to the all the people as per their scheduling. After the 3 second, 5 second, or 1 minute, it happens. Uh, but we assume that our message is sent, and uh, we we go for the other work. So in scalable design, we should consider the asynchronous operation. Why? To perform the parallel computing. Once we send the data, it will send the data as per the network as per the network traffic, resources available, network congestion, it send the data to the आवाज येतोय माझा? स्टुडंट्स,
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
ओके. कोणत्या स्लाइडला तुम्ही?
Principles.
स्लाइड दिसते?
Yes, sir.
Okay, scalable design principle. Okay, so we have completed scalable design principle. There are 8 topics. Suppose this question is asked in the examination, then you should list 6 to 8, uh, 6 to 8 principles, or you can explain, or you can explain any four principle with its theory or example. Next topic, that is the n-wide superscalar architecture. N-wide superscalar architecture. Actually, we have already completed most of the concept related to the n-wide superscalar architecture. In and we have already completed superscalar execution, pipelining. Okay, so this is same topic related to the parallel computing n-wide superscalar architecture. A superscalar architecture is called as the n-wide architecture if it supports.
आवाज ब्रेक होतोय.
Superscalar architecture is called as n-wide architecture if it supports to fetch and dispatch of n instruction in every cycle. आता आवाज येतोय?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So superscalar architecture is also called as the n-wide architecture. N-wide means n number of n number of instruction can be supported by the particular superscalar processor. As we say, our processor is dual processor, quad processor, octa processor. That dual means that is the value of n. N-wide architecture or dual processor, n number of instruction. If suppose quad core means at a time, quad core means 4 core processor. At a time, 4 instruction can be executed. So such a system is called as a n-wide architecture. म्हणून मी सांगितलं की हा पार्ट जवळपास झालेला आहे, सेम आहे. Even though I will explain. No issue. What does the superscalar mean? A common instruction, arithmetic load store, conditional branch can be initiated and executed independently in the separate pipeline. सुपरस्केलर मध्ये काय होतं? सुपरस्केलर मध्ये सेम ऑपरेशन ते याच्यात नंबर ऑफ मल्टिपल इंस्ट्रक्शन can be executed in the processor. But in superscalar architecture, main thing is that multiple instruction can be executed independently. याच्यामध्ये फरक काय आहे? सुपरस्केलर मध्ये मल्टिपल इंस्ट्रक्शन कॅन बी एक्झिक्युटेड independently, means there is no dependency in the pipeline. In any order, instruction can be executed. In our normal 8086 pipelining, multiple instruction concurrently instruction can be executed, but there is dependency. There is dependency. One instruction can be depend on the another. Then uh, instruction cannot be executed simultaneously due to the dependency. But here multiple instruction can be executed independently in the separate pipeline. In superscalar execution, we have already studied there can be two pipelines, U pipeline and V pipeline. One pipeline are responsible to execute the integer part, and another pipeline is responsible to executing the floating register file. So instructions are not necessarily executed in order. Okay, this is superscalar मध्ये there is no any mandatory to execute the instruction in order. In any order, instruction can be executed, but in the normal processor or in the normal pipelining, instruction can be executed in order. Processor attempt to find the instruction that can be executed independently, even if they are out of order. Out of order. Okay. Normal pipelining मध्ये काय आहे? In order instruction असेल then only system can execute. But in this superscalar pipelining or superscalar processor, any out of order instruction can be executed. Sorry. एक मिनिट. Use additional register and register renaming to eliminate some dependency. Okay, you may have studied in the register the naming or eliminate some dependency. SPOS subject. Okay, unit number one in pass one and pass two processor. You you may have performed that register the naming techniques. केला असेल तर माहित असेल पण केला असेल तुम्ही register the naming to eliminate some dependency. If already same register is same register is used multiple time in the programming, at that time we rename to the particular register. So due to that it might take a more less space to store the code, and due to the less code it can perform the better operation. Equally applicable to the equally applicable to RISC and SIS. मी लास्ट सेशन मध्ये पण सांगितलं होतं कधीतरी की सुपर स्केलर एक्झिक्युशन किंवा व्हीएलआयडब्ल्यू हा प्रोसेसर कशावर डिपेंड असतो किंवा कोणासारखा रिक्स अँड सिक्स प्रोसेसर. रिड्यूस इन्स्ट्रक्शन सेट कॉम्प्युटर, कॉम्प्लेक्स इन्स्ट्रक्शन सेट कॉम्प्युटर. Why superscalar? Two main ideas: to execute instruction concurrently and independently in separate pipeline. Why superscalar is important? Because it executes the instruction concurrently and independently in the separate pipeline. In normal processors we use single pipeline, but in superscalar execution there can be multiple pipeline. Okay, two-stage pipeline, five-stage pipeline. I will show you. To improve throughput of concurrent pipeline by allowing out of order execution. You can note down the highlighted point. Concurrent and independently separate pipelining and allowing out of order execution. Superscalar processor, okay, pipelining, superscalar several instruction can simultaneously executed. Out of order execution, just I explained dependency between the instruction. If there if depend if there is a dependency, then it perform the read after write. Control dependency. Okay, the dependency. Speculative execution. Speculative execution means before actual execution at the compile time compiler compiler show the tentative memory for the execution, and when we after the runtime it expand the memory, means after fetching the inbuilt memory or after executing the loop we get the final object file. So in that object file there is no any dependency, but in the speculative execution there can be tentative execution despite the dependencies. So due to the dependency, we cannot determine the actual memory size of that particular file. एवढंच लक्षात. स्पेक्युलेटिव्ह एक्झिक्युशन म्हणजे काय? टेंटेटिव्ह एक्झिक्युशन बिफोर द pipeline. In four-stage pipeline, it performs the instruction fetch, decode, execute, and write. This is a four-stage pipeline. Fetch, decode, execute, and write. Now I will show you the difference. Super pipeline and
सर
hello.
हां सर लास्ट पॉईंट रिपीट करता का? तुम्ही ऑडिबल नव्हतं.
कोणता?
सर हा जो आता तुम्ही पॉईंट कंटिन्यू करताय ना, हा याचा मागचा पॉईंट करता का? कारण की तुम्ही आत्ताच जस्ट तुमचा ऑडिओ कनेक्ट झाला.
स्लाइड सांगा. ही बरोबर आहे का? सुपर स्केलर प्रोसेसर
स्लाइड पण दिसत नाहीये.
दिसत नाहीये.
नाही.
एक पण स्लाइड मागची स्लाइड दिसली का नाही कोणती?
तर काहीच दिसत नाही. तुम्ही फक्त तुमचा हा ऑडिओ दिसतो. हा आता दिसते स्लाइड.
एवढ्या वेळापासून कोणी सांगितलं नाही. आता
हा
Yes,
सर,
sir.
याच्या आधीची स्लाइड. हा असं याच्या नंतरची. हा ही
superscalar
ही
processor.
ही वाली slide.
Okay, in
हा
superscalar
हा
processor, pipelining we know fetching the instruction while any other instruction is executed. Superscalar means multiple instruction can be executed simultaneously. Out of order instruction means there is no any dependency between the instruction problem or program. Okay. Dependency between the instruction. If there is the dependency between the instruction, then first it performs the read operation, then it performs the write operation. For example, add n1, add n1 comma n2, add n1 comma n2. So addition is depend on the two value n1 and n2. If suppose you read value of n1 in first page, even though you cannot perform the addition. Why? Because addition is depend on the other value also n2. So first of all, you have to perform the value of n1 and n2. Then you can perform the write operation. Write operation means you can perform the addition between the two variables, and then you can do the addition. Control dependency. Control dependency, in that instruction there can be a control dependency. For example, in our there can be a dependency like looping or some function calling, some program calling. So that dependency are that dependency are controlling the superscalar processor with the help of the control limit, which I have already explained in the uh, 8086 microprocessor. Speculative execution. Speculative execution means it can be a tentative execution. Before running the program, we compile, we write the code. When we write the code, it means that is a tentative execution because it assign the memory, it assign the tentative memory to the program. But when we actually perform the computation at that time, it it perform the data dependency, control dependency. Okay, as per that dependency, it expand the code. It expand the code, or it call to the other function. So with after solving that all the dependency, it it create one object file, or it create one final final file with final memory without any dependency. So such a task is called as a speculative. So just keep in your mind, speculative execution means tentative execution with dependency. In general superscalar organization we have already studied. हे आपण कशामध्ये बघितलंय, सुपर स्केलर एक्झिक्युशन म्हणून एक स्लाइड आहे माझी, आपण त्याच्यात बघितलंय. इन दॅट सुपर स्केलर एक्झिक्युशन मीन्स multiple tasks can be executed with the help of the multiple pipelines. So these are the multiple pipeline, and here you can see the functional unit. These are the functional unit. So there are multiple functional unit. So multiple tasks can be executed, and integer register file and floating register file, two separate operation can be executed with the help of the superscalar processor. I skipped this part. Okay, superscalar versus pipelining. Just I told you there can be 4-stage pipelining, 5-stage pipelining, 2-stage pipelining. So here in 4-stage pipelining, fetch, decode, execute, and write operation are performed. Now I will tell you the difference between super pipelining and superscalar. Here you can see in super pipelining, it executes the concurrent instruction. In super pipeline, it executes the concurrent instruction in interleave format or in overlap format. Here you can see one instruction is executing. Okay, then it fetch next one instruction executed, then it fetch the next instruction. It fetch the next instruction. But you can see there overlapping of the instruction, not simultaneous or parallel operation. Super pipelining मध्ये पाहू शकता तुम्ही parallel operation, but concurrent operation होता है, but there can be overlapping in super pipeline. One after the another instruction are executing. But in superscalar execution, you can see simultaneous execution. There is no overlapping. There is no any overlapping between the instruction or depend. There is no any dependency. Here you can see in super pipeline there can be dependency. जसं मी आता सांगितलं add n1, n2. समजा या instruction मध्ये n1 रीड केला असेल तर n2 इथे रीड होतोय. Means there is a dependency, but in that there is no dependency. Here you can see in superscalar simultaneously instruction are executing. आवाज येतोय?
Yes, sir.
ओके. दोन वाजले. मी एवढं ही डायग्राम घेऊन टॉपिक फिनिश करतो. बाकी पार्ट पुढच्या लेक्चरला घेऊ. In wide superscalar architecture. Now I explain the flow of the superscalar. Okay, here you can see fetch the instruction. Okay, first page of the pipelining, then store after fetching the instruction, store the instruction in the instruction queue. We can say that is the pipelining. From that pipelining with the help of the control unit, it dispatch the instruction one by one to the dispatch unit. Now dispatch unit, just we have seen in the superscalar there are two pipelines. So dispatch unit analyze the data, then it split the data into the two parts. Floating point data are provided to the floating point unit, integer point data assigned to the integer point unit, and after that you can see there is the n number of you can see there is a 2 unit functional unit, but there can be n number of functional unit, and after performing the actual computation it perform the write operation. Just as I told you, there can be dependency. So with the help of the control unit, first of all it read all the information, it calculate all the information with the functional unit, and then it perform the write operation. This is a processor with 2 execution unit. हा डायग्राम पाहू शकता तुम्ही इथे. हा सेम डायग्राम तिथे डिटेल मध्ये एक्सप्लेन केला आहे. ओके. Now next is the 5-stage pipelining. In the next session I will continue with the A5 stage